Hello, Kennedy Center and my Jazz Ahead family. My name is James Gibbs III. I am a trumpeter, educator, producer, music director, and overall world-class musician. I was a participant in Betty Carter's Jazz Ahead back in 1996, again in 1998 through 2000. If you do not remember me, in 1996, I was featured on CBS Sunday Morning with Betty. I was the 18-year-old trumpeter from Irvington. Used to have the big jazz earring in my ear at that time. So if you still don't remember, here's a small clip of me in that special. Check this out.
Oh man, I'm scared out of my pants. You know, if you telling me I'm in a program and it's like my palms get sweaty and I'm constantly biting my nails and just thinking about it is, pressure itself.
Carter discovered James Jazz Gibbs of Irvington, New Jersey at age 17 when he got the chance to play at a New York club last year.
She noticed my potential and me becoming this, great, trumpet player, hopefully. It's just a dream come true.
More dreams will come true, along with a few nightmares for James and the other students this weekend.
Wow. I can't believe it has been at least 25 years since we did that. I am making this video to the administrators of Jazz Ahead to attempt to convince you to put on an annual Jazz Ahead tribute concert featuring past members from Jazz Ahead that worked with Betty directly, and essentially consider having past members who came through the program after Betty's untimely departure. A lot of us have went on to develop great careers in this music world, whether achieving mainstream success or just success in our own way. What made me think about this idea came about in the fall of 2020. I went to my parents' house to look for my old baseball cards in their attic that I was collecting starting back when I was like 9 years old. During my baseball card search, I stumbled across a storage container full of VCR tapes and decided to look into them. While I was going through those tapes, I saw a couple of homemade tapes that was labeled Jazz Ahead 1996 and 1998. Although I knew that I had videos of Jazz Ahead rehearsals back then on my VHS-C tapes that can fit the camcorder I was using at that time, I did not remember ever transferring those videos to my regular VHS standard tapes, better known as VCR tapes. I made a decision to take the entire container home with me to take a look further. I also managed to find the large storage container that held my baseball cards and other sports memorabilia. So, of course, my initial search did turn up, successful. As I looked through each Jazz Ahead labeled tapes, I was surprised to see footage that I did not remember recording, and I knew I had to do something about that footage. So I converted each tape to MP4 files and uploaded them onto my YouTube channel using a private filter, and I shared them with everybody that I had on my Facebook friends list and tagged each one of them via Facebook Messenger to check out those videos. After allowing a private 2-week showing of those videos to make sure everyone saw them, I decided to come up with an idea to reach out to everyone again to see if they were willing to participate in a group Zoom call to talk about the videos in those days, and also come up with an idea to hopefully convince Jazz Ahead to bring us back to do a concert or clinics featuring everyone who was in the program when Betty was alive. And what I was going to do was take that Zoom footage and add it to this podcast-like video and send it to you guys at the Kennedy Center to check out and hopefully convince you to come up with a plan to potentially make this a reality. So after sending out emails and sliding into people's DMs and asking and maybe even a little bit of begging to convince them to become a part of this process, I managed to get some of them to get on a Zoom call with me, not only to catch up with them, but to also see what they thought about this idea. Unfortunately, I was not able to get everyone to participate or have everyone who could participate in one Zoom meeting. So I had to set up more than one Zoom meeting to try to get everyone I possibly can to come on and share their stories and thoughts about this idea. So fortunately, I was able to get Sherman Irby. He's a lead alto saxophonist and a long time and current member of Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra for well over 20 years. He has also worked with jazz greats like Elvin Jones, Roy Hargrove, Papo Vasquez, and many others, and he was also a part of the 1996 Jazz Ahead. Also was able to get Joel Frahm. He is a Grammy Award-winning tenor saxophonist and world-renowned recording artist who has played with such greats like Brad Mehldau, Kenny Barron, Freddie Cole, Diane Scher, Kirk Allen, Jane Moyet, Bill Charlap, and he was also a 1996 Jazz Ahead participant. I also managed to get the hip-hop violinist herself, Miri-Ben Ari, who is an Israeli-American and a Grammy Award-winning violinist who has worked with renowned artists such as Kanye West, Jay-Z, Wyclef Jean, Alicia Keys, Wynton Marsalis, Britney Spears, Maroon 5, Akon, Patti LaBelle, Donna Summer, Janet Jackson, John Legend, and so many other wonderful artists. As you can see, there's too many to name. I was also able to get David E. Frost, who is a world-class bassist, and he's also an educator out of New York City, and he's also from Brooklyn. He is also a bicycle and health enthusiast and a recording artist who was a part of the Jazz Ahead in 1998 and 1999. As a matter of fact, Miri-Ben Ari was a part of 1998 and 1999 Jazz Ahead as well. I also was able to get Byron Landrum, world-class and Grammy-nominated drummer who has worked with George Coleman, David Sanborn, Bobby Hutcherson, Joey DeFrancesco, Frank West, rest in peace, Pat Martino, Cyrus Chestnut, Russell Malone, Ruth Naomi Floyd, Hannibal Lacumbe, and the Liberation Orchestra, and many others. He was also a part of the 1996 Jazz Ahead program. I was also able to get Travis Shook, a multiple award-winning pianist who has recorded projects as a band leader with Columbia Records and his own label, Dead Horse Records. He has toured Europe with Betty Carter for a while, and he has worked with many greats like Reggie Workman, Eddie Harris, Joe Lovano, Toots, Rufus Reid, and Chuck Israel, Ernestine Anderson, Branford Marsalis, Benny Golson, oh my goodness, Clifford Jordan, and so many others. He was also part of the 1996 Jazz Ahead lineup. Also managed to get Alex Norris, who is a world-class trumpeter and newly Grammy-nominated trumpeter. He has appeared on over 80 recordings to his credit, and he has recorded projects on Blue Note Records, Verve, Impulse, Steeplechase, and Sunnyside Records. He has worked with and toured with such greats such as bassist Lonnie Plastico, Slide Hampton, rest in peace, Joshua Redman, Brad Mehldau, Chris Potter, Carl Allen, John Patitucci, my goodness, Mogul Miller, rest in peace, Brian Blade, Andy and Jerry Gonzalez. Oh my God, it's just, yeah, Ron Carter's big band, Aminga's big band, yeah, and many others. Oh my God. He was also part of the 1996 Jazz Ahead and the 1998, and he is also the person that wrote the Jazz Ahead theme song as well. I also managed to get Brandon McCune, who is a world-class pianist, educator, and an organist, music director, who has worked with such greats as Abby Lincoln, Terrence Blanchard, Nina Freelon, Mickey Howard, Wynton Marsalis, Bruce Williams, Chrisette Michelle, Ted Dunbar, Larry Ridley, Russell Malone, Lenora Zinzali, sorry if I got that messed up, Mark Gross, Antonio Hart, Ober Davis, and he was a part of the 1996, 1998, and the 1999 Jazz Ahead program. I was also able to get Brandy and Tanya Reid, 2 out of the 3 Reid sisters from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was able to get Tanya, who is currently a second-grade teacher, and she's also a licensed realtor and an independent recording artist, and she was a part of the 1996, the 1998, and the 1999 Jazz Ahead, along with her sister Brandy, who also teaches musical theater. She's also a mom as well. I was also able to get Andre Hayward, world-class trombonist who has worked with Joe Williams, John Lewis, Kirk Whalum, the Duke Ellington Orchestra, And he was also the lead trombonist for the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra and the 1996 Jazz Ahead participant. I was also able to get Jennifer Vincent, who is a world-class bassist whose music has been featured on many TV commercials and TV shows, who has worked with the famed Boys Choir of Harlem, Willie Martinez and La Familia, Sun Sublime, the Xavier Cougar Orchestra, Carmen Lundy, Harry Whitaker, who is also a longtime artistic director and keyboardist for the legendary Roberta Flack. John Hendricks, the Duke Ellington Orchestra, and she was also a participant of Jazz Ahead in 1996, 1998, and the tribute concert in 1999. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed those intros, so let's get right to it. All right, in this first clip, singer Tanya Reid was explaining to Alex Norris, the trumpeter, that Jazz Ahead was still using the theme song that he had wrote back in 1996. And I was a part of the 2000 Jazz Ahead, and I wanted to, explain why that may be so, but also not knowing that Jazz Ahead was still using that theme song even after I left. I was also trying to bounce ideas, trying to, just trying to see, what we can try to present to you guys as ideas to create some type of alumni association or something to that effect. But anyway, check out this clip so you can see what I'm talking about.
No, I wanted to say that Alex, you wrote that one, the theme song for Jazz Ahead, right? Mm-hmm. You know the Kennedy Center still uses it.
That I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
I got something to say on that.
They still use that part.
They really do. Oh well.
Tell you why.
And the lyrics that we wrote, because then I think we had, where would I be if the ones we thought of what I would do? Jazz Ahead, right?
I don't remember those.
That.
Oh wow.
But I know that because Brittany, I don't know if she's gonna come. She was confused like Brandon James.
Okay.
And she thought it was yesterday. So Brittany was trying to get in. But Brittany lives in Washington, D.C., and she has went to see Jazz Ahead. And when she was there, she discovered that the Kennedy Center is still utilizing material that was written as the theme song.
I see.
It's in this very it's cool that Tanya said that they still use it, because when they were actually trying to eliminate, and I think they were trying to have some type of, I'm trying to remember, oh my goodness, like they tried to use some type of blues or something, like it was crazy. And I'm sitting here like, what happened to the theme song? So they was like, nothing. I said, no, let's pull this theme song together. Let's look at the video. And we're gonna have to use that. I think the only thing that they didn't do at that time was use the lyrics, but I'm really happy that they decided to stick with your song, because that song was so freaking dope. It was like, thank you, how man. Could you not?
I didn't know they still used it. Too.
And what I'm going to do is follow up just to confirm what that is. I just got to go back through, talk to Brittany, because I think it was even sheet music that she literally saw, or it was something. But no, there's something that was created. Wait, Alex, do you remember writing a theme song for Jazz Ahead?
Well, I remember writing something, and I think it eventually became a theme song. I wanted. Betty said that she wanted something that involved the whole company. So I had this. It's a piece that I wrote a while ago, but I rearranged it for the whole company, because when I saw like the different instruments we had voice and everything, I figured, I should arrange it for the entire company. Hey, Byron.
Hey, how you doing?
B. Ryan, what up, man?
What's up?
Oh my God, you look the same. Hello.
Hey, sweetheart, how are you?
Oh my gosh, you look me exactly the same.
Oh, wow.
You really do. Yeah.
You.
Hey, Byron.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
I miss y'all. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yo, I'm be honest with you, man. I envisioned this years ago. Me and Byron just had a conversation just yesterday. I'm at the grocery store, and I told him, I said, look, I knew this was going to happen then. I didn't care how defiant I looked at the time. I told Betty, I told everybody, like, look, y'all may not like what I'm doing right now, but it's like your parents saying, you know what, I gotta beat you. You're gonna hate me now, but you'll love me later for disciplining you the way I'm about to discipline you. You know what I mean? And I had literally the same exact mindset. So here it is, 24 and a half years later. Dude, that's a lifetime, man.
It's just it's not that long.
You know what? I'm be honest with you. I didn't know I was gonna live to see this long, only because I can't see that far down the road. Like, what am I gonna look like at 43?
same.
You look the same,
No
James.
hair.
You really do.
You look the same. No hair.
Same.
You know, I decided
You too, Alex.
Thank you. Yeah.
This is something that is so big to me. Like, I couldn't sleep last night because of today. I literally couldn't sleep the last couple of days because I was ultra excited. So I just want to apologize to you guys if I'm not prepared.
Oh, man.
But I do want to say this. The main reason why I want to do this, or I feel in my heart to do this, is because what I would like for Jazz Ahead down at Kennedy Center to do is to create an alumni association of all the Jazz Ahead people that's come through this program for over the years. And what that can possibly, hopefully do is get that. I'm big on networking. I'm big on relationships. So and because it's kind of interesting to me when I go out certain places sometimes, and people they look at me, you know, like, what? Like, why you look familiar? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, look, and it's like, yo, were you in Jazz Ahead, dude? And I'm like, yeah, I was in Jazz Ahead. Yo, me too. I was there in like 2007, 9 or whatever. And I'm saying like, oh crap. So here I am meeting people every once in a while who was in Jazz Ahead, but we have no way of having a bond on who was in the program. So,
well, and I'm gonna just quickly interrupt. You made a good point about when the people who were in the program when Betty was alive.
Yeah, we were that crew.
Yeah, that's a different group. Okay.
Yeah,
that was the last year, right? That was the very last year that she was alive. When we did it, I think 96. She passed in 97, right?
Passed in 98.
Yeah,
98,
26 to be exact.
I remember the last event was at the Kennedy Center when I remember the last thing she said to me, Alex, we got it. What did we get? We got permanent residency for Jazz Ahead at the Kennedy Center. Isn't that great? I said, that's great. You know. And then we had one communication after that, and then I heard she passed.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that clip. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of all over the place at that time. I couldn't understand why. But anyway, so in this second clip, or in this next clip, I know Alex wanted to know what the Reid sisters have been up to, and the Reid sisters want to know what everybody else has been up to, and we all pretty much noticed that we missed each other, and because it's been so long and things of that nature. And so, yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. So check out this next clip.
Now, James, I've seen you. Byron, I've seen you. And Brandon, I've seen. Tanya and Brandy, I haven't seen you. I'd like to know a little bit more about where you are, how you are, and what you're doing.
I want to know about what everybody is doing. Everybody. We heard about Mr. James. Tanya, if you want to, I mean, you know.
Well, I'm gonna drink to that right there. I'm gonna finish out my bottle right here.
There you go, man.
My brother.
Oh my goodness! Straight to
That's
the
what's up.
That's something we couldn't do because none of us were really old enough back then, or maybe we did anyway, just didn't tell Betty.
It still feels a little taboo. It feels a little bit
I got
taboo.
another bottle left, man. I'm telling you.
Oh
man.
man, James ain't playing around.
Yeah,
Cannot.
it's gonna get real around here.
But Tanya, where are you living now?
I live in our hometown.
In Milwaukee?
Yes, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I live in our hometown. I am a second grade teacher.
Wow.
I did independently release 2 projects. I did recently like release some music. So like I do continue to songwrite.
She'll send
I also have a real estate license, James.
Wow.
So teacher, realtor, I still wrote songs and recorded them and released them and I live in my hometown.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yo,
And Brandy, how about you?
I am in my hometown.
Oh wow, so your neighbors.
I have.
So you know the teacher in me wants to say who's not on mute.
no, that's Brandon right there.
Brandon.
Like 3 years, man. So
That's Brandon. Mute yourself, Brandon.
Yeah, well,
Brandon, mute your mic.
I have to unmute every time I want to talk. I just tell the kids, shut up.
Okay, all right.
Wow.
However you do it.
Brandy, you're still in music.
Yes. I'm a teaching artist. That's what I do, like a contract teacher, and I go and I do performing arts and musical theater. So I started doing some acting and stuff. So I do musical theater and I teach musical theater, and I also do a lot of stuff with my daughter. Actually, like we do shows and things together because she acts and sings. So we train her, don't we, Tanya? We train her. Our young, yes, she's very good.
Does your daughter have your eyes?
Huh?
Does your daughter have your eyes?
Nope.
No.
She has just like her daddy.
He has my personality though.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Just like me.
Excellent.
But yeah, so teaching and missing you guys. I'm so happy. This feels so good to see you guys. Wow.
Same here.
All right.
Hey, Jennifer.
Where's Jennifer at, man? Let me
Jennifer.
Yo, JB.
Hey, I was just making cheese enchiladas and some of the cheese was falling out of the pan, and like it took forever to fry every tortilla. I have to fry the tortillas individually, so that's why it took me a minute to log on here.
Oh.
I'm just happy to see all of y'all, man.
So I hope you enjoyed that last clip. You know, it was just pretty much us just trying to re-queen each other. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. All right, so in this next clip, Jennifer Vincent, I started going around asking people, how did you meet Betty Carter? And so I think Jennifer Vincent went first. So check this out. I hope you enjoy.
I would like to go around the table and ask everybody, how did you actually meet Betty?
Wow.
I want to start with the women, if the fellas don't mind.
Let's start.
But I want to hear your story. Take as long as you need. Be as passionate. Be as candid, because this is all going to them. So yeah, how did you meet Betty?
Jennifer.
Okay. Hey.
Jennifer.
Okay. I met Betty through Alex because at that time Alex and I were going out, and he was doing a show at SOBs with her. He was part of the Jazz Ahead program. And I was in this, I was doing other stuff, and I wanted to do like more straight ahead jazz. And so he invited me to the gig. And he liked it. Did I want to sit in, or did you invite me to sit in?
I think it was a combination of two. Like I was looking for that opening, because you know how Betty was. Is like she was always looking for young people, and she liked the spirit of people coming up. But there had to be a right time, and I think I found an opening, and you jumped on it, and you came up and played.
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting to play, and then Alex like, come on, he asked Eric Rivas, who was on the bass on the gig. He goes, can my girlfriend Jennifer sit in? And so Eric's like, sure, because he's such a cool guy, and so didn't you pull me up onto the stage?
I think I did.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, so you helped me up onto the stage, and like I just kind of took over from Eric, and during a song, I can't remember what song it was, and I think it was it September in the Rain? Or
I think so. That makes sense, because I know she liked to play that one.
Yeah. So it might have been that.
Misty
and
Night, yeah.
And she didn't know that I was playing. Like the bass line, just because he handed me the bass right at the right time, and I took it over from him right at the right time. She didn't know, and she turned around, and like I'm much shorter than Eric. I look nothing like him, and she's like, oh my gosh, she was like in shock. And so then that's how I met her, because I was pulled up onto the stage to sit in at SOB's 1994, I think.
Yep.
1994, yeah.
Ooh.
And I was playing a New Orleans band, and I was, in retrospect, I love it because I learned all these great tunes. But at the time, I wanted to play like straight ahead jazz, and so I was really artistically frustrated, and I was so happy to be playing with, people that were playing straight ahead jazz. So I just loved that. I jumped at that opportunity, and thank you, Alex.
Of course.
Yeah.
You did. You delivered, and how? So it was easy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, it was a life-changing experience. So I really appreciate it, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so that's how I met her.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that last clip. In this clip, I'm going to say that I think the Reid sisters, I asked the Reid sisters, how did they meet Betty Carter? And so I believe that Tanya insisted that Brandy tells the story and she was going to chime in. And then after they told their story, then I had Byron Landrum tell his story on how he met Betty, and that was very interesting as well. But he also, said that he missed us, and with these relationships, we haven't seen each other in so long. So it was quite a touching story. So I hope you enjoy this. Check this out.
I thought Tanya would tell the story.
Oh, okay.
No, I think you should. I'm gonna give you the honors, and then I'll just chime in. I'll just chime in with a little ad lib. Okay.
Try to make sure I get it right. So,
all right, go ahead.
We were working with an artist by the name of Melvin Ryan.
Oh yeah.
The jazz organist.
Yeah.
Worked with Wes Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he was living here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he was sort of like a teaching artist. My sisters and I were singing. We weren't really singing jazz. We were trying to sing that music that you got to show some skin and stuff. Like we was trying to be like,
like Beyonce, like Destiny's Child, and
that whole thing.
Escape, Destiny's Child, Baby in Vogue.
That was the vibe. Like we was trying to like be there. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be in that
way, boy.
Right.
Hey.
Right. So my mother, I always felt like being the oldest, I always felt like the jazz thing was to deter us from that, whole secular thing. But it actually turned out to be like very fruitful in the knowledge that we gained from studying that with Mel, which I don't even know how we ended up meeting Mel. I don't even know that part. But he was like our mentor, and we also studied at the conservatory, and we practiced 24/7 because we were gonna make it. The Reid sisters we was gonna make it.
Nice.
And so I just remember, from my perspective, I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to do on the night that Betty came in town, and I really didn't know that much about her. I knew that she was a jazz singer. I knew she was on the Cosby Show. I knew that. But my mother insisted that, and I think I was like maybe 16, that I not go to the football game and go with my sisters.
So I'm gonna chime in. Quickie. It was the deal that was cut because Mom was not like the real Joe Jackson. No, she said we could go, but she said you need to go and sing at the lobby lounge in the hotel that Betty was staying because Mel thought that after Betty sang at the Pabst Theater, which is a big theater here, that she would then come and hang out in the lobby lounge with her band, kick it, have a drink, and then at that point,
and he was playing. He was Tanya. Don't forget, he was the hired musician for the lobby
lounge, and so he just predicted that she would come and chill with her band. He did not know that she would come down there and have drinks, and so we got dressed up in our clothes, and Mama was like, "Y'all can do this, but you got to go over here and you got to sing first." Lo and behold, we go over there, and guess who's in the lobby lounge? Betty Carter.
Having a drink.
Perfect.
Betty Carter.
I heard this. I think I heard this story, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brandy.
And that was basically it. She heard us. We ended up singing. She liked it. We sang an original song that Mel wrote, "It's Love," which we still sing when we get together.
Yeah, right. That one.
Yes. You guys might remember that. That was the song.
Let me tell you, I think I still have the charts from that year.
Still got my Jazz Ahead chart.
I think I still have the folder from that year.
Dust it off.
Wow.
Dust it off, Brandon.
Remember that ending
song? Yeah.
Did it be?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God! Look out.
Take it home. And Byron. Yeah, right. Oh yeah. Oh, that's it. Baby.
That was an exciting thing about Jazz Ahead was the row of drummers. Every drummer was so boss and
yes,
very individual too.
Indeed.
That was so great. Okay,
that's it, y'all. And then the rest was history. Well, I don't know what the first. Oh, she came to visit us. She came to the Midwest. Like she had us create a video, like a VHS video, and then she literally came to our house.
Yeah.
Before we even went to New York, just to probably to make sure that we felt comfortable because she was so kind to us and just so protective and gentle and sensitive, and so she literally came to our house.
She was y'all pit bull for real.
Yeah.
Like I can hear.
I want to say, how long did that last?
Man, that's crazy.
She was so kind.
No, because we were still little, we were kids. So she was so kind to us because we weren't adults. Brandy was like the closest thing to an adult.
And I'm the oldest. I am the oldest.
So she was super sweet and gentle with us, but then to protect us, right? Mm-hmm. And so then we ended up coming to New York, and I don't remember our first year, Brandy, might have been 92 or 93.
No, it was like 1994.
No, Brandy. All right. It was before that.
93. I don't know.
Okay. So that's it, y'all. That's our story.
You remember the Hey,
Where's your sister? Brittany, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yo, call her.
She's probably confused right now.
Give me a second. Yeah.
And tell her
you guys remember the matching dresses?
Of course.
Of course.
We always matched.
Yeah. That was awesome. Do you remember the beautiful purple gown that your mom wore to the concert?
No.
Okay.
Let me just say this real quick. Do y'all remember? I didn't have my tux because I got locked out of.
I remember that.
I was like, I had on like a brown jacket and like blue pants. And
I remember that.
She reamed me. I was like, oh my God. It was so embarrassing. And Sherman Herbie, he gave me like a bow tie. I was like, I just had to deal with it. I was like, oh my God. She was like, man, you know better than this. I said, Daddy, I came up. I'm staying with Dwayne Eubanks and Orrin Evans. They locked me out. I got locked out. It was no excuses. I was just like, oh.
Yep.
That was so funny. I remember that. Oh my God.
Byron, you might as well say, how did you meet Betty, man?
I met Betty. You know, it's strange because I think that like Betty had hired me, so I was actually in her band before our whole Jazz Ahead thing came about. And you know, Kareem Riggins had referred me to Betty, you know, because Kareem Riggins, he was supposed to be working with she kept calling him, he was working with Roy Hargrove at the time. And he was like, look, I got this cat, it's a brother of mine. I got this cat in Philly. He's a bad dude, college dude. And it's and the strange thing is I was working in Philly like the night before she called me. And I got home at like 3 in the morning because it was like the ultimate hang. It's a place in Philly that's no more now. It used to be called Ortleaves.
Ortleaves, baby.
I remember Ortleaves. I love that place.
Ortleaves, that's right. The Blue
So
Moon.
I got home, I'm like, you know, and I fell asleep. And then I get a call at like 7 in the morning. I only slept for like 4 hours. Hello, Byron. I was like, hello. I was like, this is Betty Carter. I was like, oh, how you doing, Betty? She was like, so when can I hear you play? I said, I guess whenever, you know, you want me to come up, I'll come and play. And it was so strange to me because, you know, I didn't know how to react. I was just so dead tired. I didn't know how to react to that. And she thought that I didn't know who she was. I said, Betty, I know who you are. It's like, you know, it was just so bad. And she had me coming. So when you can come to New York? She said, send me something but you playing. I said, okay, I play. She said, I know you play with the organ player. I don't want to hear that organ stuff. I said, oh, Lord. I said, okay. So I was already like a little bit paranoid about that. Then she had me come to New York and we started rehearsing. And at that time in the band, it was Xavier Davis on piano. And it was a player named Matt Hughes.
I'm in touch with Matt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think she had just fired him when I got there, and it was like, and it actually was a quartet. It was Mark Shim playing tenor saxophone. So I got there, and it was so strange because it was like he had me come in, and I was always used to just having a gig when somebody called me to perform, or I'm not used to auditioning or doing anything like that. I'm like, if you call me, you're calling me to have me with you. And it was so weird because she would have Greg Hutchinson there one day, and she would have like a guy named not Dana Hall. Dana, I forget Dana's last name. There's another drummer. It was just like it was really strange. And that same thing, that's what I was saying to you.
Dana Marie?
Huh? I was saying, listen, she it was strange. She treated me really nice. And it's like when I got there and when I was playing with them rehearsing, she would pay everything. She would pay my tickets to come back and forth and give me money. And I said, wow, Betty Carter's sweet. And he said, just you wait, rookie. I said, oh my God, okay. But it was, you know, I have to admit, it was probably one of the best things for me in my life in terms of discipline, in terms of really get inside the music dynamically, and really just like working for somebody else, not making it about yourself, but really making it a whole group sound. And it's like I was blessed to have done that 1.5 or 2 years that I did with her. And I was really blessed to meet all of y'all with that. But it's like every time I worked with Beth, it was always eggshell. She would never let you get complacent, as we all know. Mm-hmm. It was always something on eggshell. I mean, once I started working with her, after I met her, it was like 2 weeks down the road, she was like, come on, you gotta play these, man, you should know these tunes already. I said, Betty, I just started working with you. She says, no, you gotta know this music already. I said, it's like 50 songs. It's just too much for me to, it takes a while to absorb the arrangements, the tunes, and what the vibe is. But it's strange too, because when I got there, I was so happy. And then after a while, I started looking. I was the one. After a couple weeks, I was like the alumni. I was like the guy. Everybody else was gone, and everybody's looking at us. And I had to look at my face where I was like, you know, stone face. Like I didn't look like I was having a good time. I said, guys, look, this is a long haul, and I said you got to deal with whatever she gives you. And it's like she's gonna give it to you. So you best be relaxed and sit back and just think about music and don't really let her get into your head too much, because she can do that. And Betty, as much as I love her, she's very manipulative, you know, in that sense. But I learned so much, and I'm really thankful for the time that I had, and the musicians that I met, and especially y'all. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. That's wow.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed Tanya's and Brandy's recollection of how they met Betty, and I definitely hope you enjoyed Byron's. That was actually very interesting. In this next clip, Alex Norris explains how he met Betty Carter, and then I think I had Brandon McCune explain how he met Betty, and that was very short, but it was definitely to the point. So definitely check this out.
Me?
No, well, I mean, yeah, you might as well go. I did say Alex, but yeah, how'd you meet?
Oh, Alex.
I'm sorry.
You look frozen, dude. Like,
no.
It's like,
sorry, man. Well, I met Betty in 1994, January. It was IAJE. Everybody here remember IAJE?
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
And I was in a combo from Manhattan School of Music, and it was a good combo. And there was three of us that Betty liked. Myself, Rodney Lancaster on trombone, and Eric Lewis, Elu, as he's now known. And we all made and I think what really I know she noticed my playing, but she didn't decide on using me till I went down in the lobby and heard that group from Western Michigan with Matt Hughes, Xavier Davis, Keith Hall. And then I saw Betty. We were both in the audience. She said, "I really like what you did, you know." And give me your number. And I think I ended up giving my number to Ora Harris. And then I got a call a few months later about Jazz Ahead. And at first I was kind of, well, I don't know if this is really the right thing for me. And I had a conflict because I know I had a conflict with one of the concerts. But I was like, oh, I don't know. Let me go check this thing out. And I was blown away by the whole Jazz Ahead experience. It was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I mean, I know Betty Carter is huge, but that was like one of the first things I remember was hearing the Reid sisters sing. They gave them a feature. And then just hearing all the different players. Kareem really knocked me out. Andre Hayward, who's just knocked me
just now.
And then tenor player. Lives in Cincinnati now. J.D. Allen, he was there. Yeah, Pevin Everett was there. So many great players. Eric Revis. It's my first time meeting Eric. And
Pevin, I forgot about Pevin. My God,
I was just blown away by the level of talent. It was really life changing. And Betty took a liking to me. She took a liking to my writing. She encouraged my writing. Really, it was really inspiring, the whole thing. And I liked that the whole thing was catered too. That was fun.
That's what's up, Alex. Great story, man. Yeah, Brandon, what about you, man?
Well, I'm glad we went in this order because the way I got into the mix was through Pevin Everett. Pevin and I grew up in Chicago basically together. We were in high school. There was a club in Chicago called the Bop Shop, and the lady Smith, who was always giving young people a chance. So there was Pevin Everett. There was a singer named Kimberly Gordon. We were all the young musicians in Chicago. And Pevin went to New York the year before I did and met Betty and started making his way around the scene. And, by the time I got to New York, he had mentioned to Betty, you got to call my man. He's a piano player. And literally, like, that was it. I got a phone call from Aura, who says, the phone call went, Brandon, can you make this Jazz Ahead? I don't know if she called it an audition. She called it something. And I said, well, I'm sure I could make it, but it was on a Sunday and I was playing for a church service or something. And Betty said, Aura said, well, if you can't make it, then, don't worry about it. And somehow the word got back to me that Betty had told her, you can't kick the man out of a program because he has a church service to play for. Like, what kind of message is that? So she said, as soon as it's over, just make your way to New York. And I did. I mean, it's a very simple story. There's no, fluff or anything to it. And that's how I got involved with the program.
All right. So I hope you enjoyed those stories as well. It's amazing how, Betty had a way of just finding her talent. It's just unbelievable. That's one of the reasons why I just, I think it would be such a great idea for Jazz Ahead to bring this thing back to life, especially with the people that actually was with Betty back in those days. I think it'll make it just great. But I digress. In this next scene, Andre Hayward, trombonist, checks in and says what's up to everybody, and then he explains how he met Betty Carter. So check this out.
Yo, everybody say what's up to Andre. He's here.
Hey guys.
Andre.
Hey Andre. What's up, Andre?
I'm so glad to see
Hey,
you
brother.
guys, man. What a reunion. Thank you, James, for putting this together, man.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Boy, it's so great to see. I'm looking at Byron and Brandon, Jennifer, Tanya, Alex.
Listen,
Hi, Andre.
I can't say Andre Hayward without hearing Dre's blues in my head.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
no kidding.
You dig me.
Oh my.
Bruh.
Oh wow. Man.
I
like
Bruh.
Man, thank you so much. Man,
That's 15, 20 years ago, but
that's been so many years. I wrote that tune in 1992.
25.
And when I presented Betty just fell in love with the song, and I joined her and first joined Jazz Ahead in 1993. This was as a result of meeting Betty at one of the Jazz Educators Conference. This is when IAJE was still around, and it was happening in San Antonio. And so Betty, this Jazz Ahead was in its infancy stages, so she was just getting this program off the ground. So she was there and was basically, scouting around for talent. As each night, there would be students doing jam sessions, in various places in the hotel or the conference room. And so she was hanging out every night, and she would sit in with us. And there was one particular night I came in for one of these jam sessions, and Ora Harris approached me about this program, Jazz Ahead. And she said, Betty would really love for you to participate in this. And I'm like, wow, I'm quite honored. This is exciting, And so next thing you know, 2 months later, I get a call. She's putting flights together and hotel arrangements. And that first year, if I recall, man, we had people like Avery and Pevin Everett, Marcus Prentup, Matt Garrison, Cyrus Chestnut, Greg Hutchison, just a whole slew of people. Jackie Terrison. That first year, Antonio Parker. I don't know if you guys ever met him.
I know Antonio from Washington. Well, Philly, but now lives in Washington.
I know Antonio too.
Yeah, Antonio Parker. Yeah, so yeah, man, it was just Bill Terrell was in that group, Alvester Gannett, and
that's right.
I'll tell you, man. After that whole week, my first year of Jazz Ahead, that was just a whole 7 days of networking and meeting lifelong friends. And I'll say the same thing with you all, because technically you're only supposed to have 1 year, but I guess because we had shortages of trombone players, she had me back for 5 years in a row. So I got lucky in that regard. And I've met some lifelong friends. I'm looking at you guys right now, like family.
Oh.
Right back at you.
All right, I hope you enjoyed Andre Hayward's recollection of how he met Betty Carter and how he made so many wonderful friendships because of Jazz Ahead. So that was such a great, great story. So I hope you guys enjoyed those clips. In this next clip, Andre Hayward and Brandon McCune and Jennifer Vincent was chiming in on the significance of Betty Carter and what Jazz Ahead, really did for the jazz community, and how Betty Carter would establish her philosophies on what we can do as the next generation to take this jazz thing to a totally different level by using video and just being overall entertainers and just coming up with ideas, and letting us know, like, look, you guys are the next generation, so y'all need to take this thing to a whole nother level. So anyway, I digress again. Check out this video clip, and I hope you enjoy.
Betty was saying this back then. She was saying, listen, if jazz musicians don't get involved in video.
Oh, there you go.
We're out.
Right.
Of the whole next level market, because, who wants to sit still for an hour watching you stand in the same spot on stage? Like, you got to do something else other than just be the performer. You got to take this to another level. Otherwise, you're complete. And she said, I'll never forget that back in, what was that? 96, 95, 96. She's been saying that for years before that.
Oh yeah. Right.
Another thing is that I think this world is due for a change. Like, stuff has been disintegrating for a while now, especially like, I was heartbroken when certain clubs closed in New York and rents have been increasing. And, clubs have been put out of business for the past couple decades. And, jazz musicians, or this kind of music, has not been put in the forefront in the media. And so it's, I think that the world is due for a change. And I think that I have a very optimistic view of the future. Like, I appreciate your optimistic view, Brandon, about how I think things can look very good for the future. Once we get things off the ground with the vaccine, being able to socialize like normal humans, I'm very optimistic for the future, because I think that things have been, I think things were due for a change.
Brandon, you mentioned, Betty kind of predicting video being the future in '95. And I'll never forget the very last Jazz Ahead that I did for her. We were in DC at the Kennedy Center, and she gave us nearly a whole hour lecture on that very thing.
Yep.
And here we are today on this Zoom call.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that clip. That really said a lot about Betty. That's why me doing something like this is very, very important. To also chime in on that as well, just to expand on it just a little bit more. When I came into Jazz Ahead in 1996, I thought it was a youth camp for up and coming jazz musicians, and I had literally no experience really playing jazz. I think I had just a couple of years, 2-3 years of experience, and I felt like I kind of lucked out to get into the program, because Betty saw something in me that I definitely didn't see in myself at the time, but she did, and that's why she took a chance on me. But when I got to the program, it was nothing like a youth get together, or I was actually in a room with some musicians who were really hitting, who were touring, who were already out on the scene, things of that nature. And after that first day, I just knew that I did not belong there. I just knew that I just wasn't ready, But being that I was in the mix, I said, you know what, I need to take my video camera and I need to record these rehearsals, because I just had a feeling that these guys and girls were going to be famous and doing wonderful things. And I just wanted to get footage to say that I was there. I knew these people before they became who I knew that they were going to become. So I'm very, very thankful to get the opportunity to do that. And plus, to really be honest with you, Betty Carter did not want me to do that. She did not like the fact that I actually had my video camera near, taping these rehearsals, because she knew that, you know, I had a lot of work to do musically, to even fit in, you know. But I was adamant, you know, and if it wasn't for that little remote control I actually had for my camcorder back then, I would have not gotten any of that footage. So yeah, thank goodness for technology at that time. So, but again, thank you. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed that segment. Stay tuned for the next segment. All right, so welcome to the second segment of this podcast. I just want to say that I know that this is a long one. You know, I will say that if you want to see a more, if you want to skip to a certain section, if you go to the description box below this video, you can click on whatever segment that you do want to either skip to or you want to repeat. So, so feel free to go right to whatever segment and enjoy the rest of this podcast. All right, so welcome to the second segment of this podcast. I just want to say that I know that this is a long one. You know, I will say that if you want to see a more, if you want to skip to a certain section, if you go to the description box below this video, you can click on whatever segment that you do want to either skip to or you want to repeat. So, so feel free to go right to whatever segment and enjoy the rest of this podcast. All right, so in this next segment here, starting off, I was actually catching up with Joel Frahm. I actually got off to a late start. It was a very cold night, and I was tired because I think at that time I was working an overnight security job, and I knew that I was having this Zoom call with everybody, and I also had to go to work from there. So I took a nap that, you know, was very, very difficult for me to wake up from. So I was getting off to a late start. And then Travis Shook checks in. I have not seen him since 1996, since I first came in. As a matter of fact, the unique thing about Travis is that we never even said one word to each other back then. So we was just catching up like we knew each other this whole time. So, you know, let me stop talking. Check out this first clip.
That Travis Shook.
Hey, yes it is. Believe it or not.
I was like, dude, what happened to your camera and stuff, man?
I'm sorry. I stepped over there. I was like sitting down. I didn't hear anything, so I didn't know you guys were going.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was a little late, man. I woke up from one of those type of naps where you gotta like put extra hot water on the washcloth and just like let it just sit on your face for a couple of minutes. And then when you turn on the light, you gotta like turn on the light. Then you gotta like play peekaboo with the light until your eyes. It was horrible, man. Because I work since this COVID. But man, dude, it's nice seeing you again after 25 years, maybe.
Yeah, has it been that long?
24, 25, one of those. I don't know. It's 96.
Oh my God!
So,
yeah, it's been around. Yeah, it's been in that ballpark. That's right. Wow, I had no idea how long it's been.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, man, you know, I was at my parents' house and they were showing me all of these. The meeting's happening now. Whoever this is, Joel. Oh yeah, this is you, Joel. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
I was just
literally,
sure.
It just came through. Like really, like I'm hitting this phone.
Oh, that's weird. It's slow.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So, but anyway, and I knew I had those tapes. I just couldn't find them.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that first clip. It was great to actually catch up with him. I actually had a previous conversation with Travis before the Zoom call, so we was on the phone for at least a couple of hours or something, just, you know, catching up or whatever. So for this next segment, Sherman Irby checks in. So, you know, yeah, check this out. Enjoy.
Sherman.
Look at that. Yes, Sherman.
man, Sherm.
Oh man, what's going on, y'all?
Dude,
What's
man.
happening, man? Long time no see.
It's good to see y'all.
I just took one of those old man naps that it was a little struggle waking up from, man.
I take them naps during the day too. I just had to do a clinic.
Nice.
Yeah, I just finished and I was like, I'm about to go upstairs. I was like, wait, no, I got to get on this call. So,
oh, dude, no,
where you at? You're in New York right now, Sherman?
New Jersey.
You're in New Jersey?
All right. So I hope you enjoyed that clip. Sherman Irby checking in. He was I think he was on another Zoom call doing a clinic. Around this time, I think, everything was on Zoom. Like the whole world was like, frozen. So nobody was, doing anything at that time. So it was definitely good to see him check in. I haven't seen him in a long time. So let's go to the next one. Here we go. In this next clip, I was explaining to everyone how the Jazz Ahead, how I thought Jazz Ahead was more of a up-and-coming youth ensemble through the tutelage and the mentorship and the showcaseness of Betty Carter, and the interesting thing about Jazz Ahead, because I knew nothing about it going in. And I thought I was just going to be a part of this youth ensemble because I came from another institute in Jersey called the New Brunswick Jazz Institute at the time. They're no longer around, unfortunately. And I think I was explaining how much I was in shock of what I thought it was in my brain to what I had to deal with or what I faced when I got there and what I pretty much did about it. And Joel and Sherman pretty much shed light on the reason why Betty chose me to represent the new people coming in, because these guys, they were already out working and having record deals and pretty much already on the scene, and I guess I wish they would have eased my anxiety way back then, because they never had this conversation with me back then. But check out this clip and I hope you enjoy.
I thought Jazz Ahead was like the youth program that I was in. Just a bunch of youth, coming in who just happened to just know how to play some jazz music. And this lady is going to be the next person. So doing what Rylan was doing at the time, I go in, just go through the motions and do what I need to do. We do a show and we keep it moving. And then I see y'all freaking Space Jam monsters, man. I said, dude, I can't play with these guys. I don't know how y'all gonna put me in this room with these killers, And I told Aura and I told Betty, I said, what are y'all doing? Y'all set me up for failure here. I don't know how to play this music. And then y'all got all these cameras coming to my house and all in my face, asking me a bunch of questions and stuff.
Yeah,
and
man, you were on CBS Sunday Morning. You did the morning show.
Yeah.
I remember that. They interviewed you a lot.
But they put me here, Joe. I'm under my foot.
Man, I think it's cool. You had a story to tell. You had something to say.
Joe, daggone well, I ain't had nothing to say, cousin. Come on, man.
You know what though? I think one of the reasons they chose you is because you actually were sort of the underclassmen in a way, and also you had an energy about you. I remember that. Like you came in and you had a certain energy, like you were like, here I am. I remember that.
I do too.
And I think that when the media comes in, they look for, you were a good story. I mean, they look for a story like that, like someone who's like, sink or swim, and actually you were a good example of what Betty does also. I think, she was looking for people like you. I think she enjoyed, bringing along someone who maybe was raw, but that she saw potential. And so I think in a way that maybe that played into your hands too, at the time, I mean, it makes sense to me why they paid attention to you. I mean, in addition to your talent, I think that was part of it,
Most of us was already in the scene and
yeah.
For her to push, someone, which is what she did, or Blakey did that, they always try to, push people that are just starting out and get them out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. Yeah. And that was a good move on her part, because we still got out of it what we needed, and introduced you, because we were already starting to get some press as it was.
Okay.
I was already playing with Winter. I had already signed with Blue Note. Joel was out there playing with everybody. Travis, everybody. We were all already out there. JD, Mark Shem,
Tardy.
I mean, everybody was already out in the scene playing all the time and recording and everything, and you were very new to the scene. Okay. And that was good. That pushed you out there like that.
All right, so I definitely hope you enjoyed that clip. That was very informative for me because it definitely gave clarity on the reason why Betty brought me in and what it pretty much meant to the brand at the time because I was so new. So I definitely hope you enjoyed that clip. All right, so in this next clip, Travis Shook explains how he met Betty Carter, and actually Travis explains that he had a different intention on being with Betty as the jazz vocalist and touring with her as the artist, and how he was pretty much redirected to join Jazz Ahead instead of being, her, pianist for her tours and things of that nature. Although he did get the chance to tour with her, but I guess his initial meeting, I guess it was a big miscommunication. So definitely check out this clip. I hope you enjoy.
How did I meet Betty? It's funny because you mentioned there's a couple things. The Jazz Ahead program, you didn't quite know what that was. I had no idea what that was.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I sent her my material, and I got a call from Aura. Oh, do you want me to stop or just keep going?
Keep going.
I'm right here. I'm looking for my charger.
So I got a call from Oren. I don't remember what time it was or something, and she called me up saying, "Congratulations, you've been accepted for Jazz Ahead." And I said, "Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know what that is." And she said, "Oh, so you're saying you didn't apply for Jazz Ahead?" And I said, "No." She says, "Well, what did you send the check?" I said, "Well, to be in her trio." And so she goes, "Oh, so you didn't apply for Jazz?" And I said, No, I didn't. But I had no idea what she's talking about, right? So Aura hung up, and I got this sinking feeling. I said, "Wait a minute, I better check this out. Something's wrong here." So I called up. Sherman remembers a lot of these same people. Remember Noel Jones?
Of course, yeah.
I called up Noel, and I said, "I just got a call from Betty's manager about this Jazz Ahead." And she goes, "Oh, that's a good gig. That's a good." She said, "Everybody's trying to get that gig." And I said, "Oh shit, I didn't." I mean, it's not like I didn't say I didn't want to do it, but I had no idea what it was, right? So the way Aura took it was that, "Oh, well, Travis is just being snooty or something," but that's not at all how that was meant. I just was answering her question. That's what I applied for. So I called up my manager at that time, who then called up Aura and said, "Oh yeah, no, you definitely upset Aura. Aura was real. She had thought you were like giving some kind of attitude about not wanting to do jazz, and it was never the case." So she told me, "Yeah, no, Travis would love to do it," which of course I would. So at that time, then I signed up for that program.
Wow.
But I knew who Betty Carter was. I knew exactly who she was. It wasn't a case of, because I had just sent her some stuff. I didn't know at that time that Xavier actually. It was kind of a sort of fortunate time for me because Xavier had just transitioned at that point to into the great Xavier Davis as we know today, and left the Carter trio. So that actually put me into the trio at that time. But that's really what I was sending it for. But no, I almost didn't make it to the Jazz Ahead because of that.
Man, you almost wrote your own ticket out. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I do that sometimes. I'm just trying to I'm just speaking yes or no answers to things. And that can go the wrong. People can interpret that any which way. You see what I mean?
All right. So I hope you enjoyed that clip. Man, Travis almost wrote his own ticket out of it. That was great. That was funny, actually. But stuff like this happens, especially in this world of music. So yeah, that was definitely a learning experience. So I definitely hope you enjoyed that. All right, so in this next clip, Joe Frahm, he pretty much chimed in on how he met Betty, and I think it was one of those things where, Joe had some. He never heard of Jazz Ahead, but I'm just trying to remember, and it was just one of those things where, he did want to play with Betty, but I guess to play with Betty, he had to kind of go through Jazz Ahead to actually get the chance to play with her. And she actually taught him some valuable lessons, and then I, pretty much remembered a couple little things that happened to him with Betty that week, and then Jennifer chimed in on the Zoom call in the middle of or towards the end of his story, and when she was listening, she was like, yeah, and she remembered certain parts that actually happened. So anyway, check out this next clip. I hope you enjoy.
If that's the case, then I can tell you just quickly my Betty experience. I'll be quick about it, but
yeah, you got it.
Mine's kind of funny because I was at the Vanguard. Probably 95, and I ran into Aaron Goldberg, I think, who was either playing in Josh's band. I'm not even sure why he was there, but anyway, he was there, and he came upstairs, and I was going downstairs, and he said, man, I said, what have you been doing? He said, man, I've been doing this cool thing called Jazz Ahead with Betty Carter. And I said, oh, I never heard about that, but I love Betty Carter. And he said, well, she's downstairs. You should go down and say hello. So I said, okay. So I went down, and this was on a Monday night when the big band was playing. So I went down. I was going down to see the set anyway, and she was seated all the way in the back against the wall by the bar, and so in the middle of the set, John Mosca says, and we'd like to acknowledge the great Betty Carter's in the house, and so on and so forth. And so the set was over, so I went I went up to Betty and I said, I'm Joel Frahm, you don't know me, but I heard about Jazz Ahead, and I'm just wondering if there's a chance if I could participate in that. And she said, there's a chance. Like that. She said, there's a chance. You got to send me your tape. So I went and I did a demo, and Bill Charlap was on the demo. And so I sent her my demo tape. And I didn't hear anything from her for a long, long time, and it was coming up on it. It was like 2 weeks before the thing was supposed to happen. I hadn't heard anything, so I called Aura, and Aura said, "Here's her home number. You should call her at home." I said, "Really? I should call Betty at home?" She's like, "Yeah, just call her." So I called her, and and the phone rings. She picks up, "Hello," and I'm just like, Miss Carter, this is Joel Frahm. Who? Joel Frahm, I met you at the Vanguard, and she's like, oh, right, you're the saxophone, okay. I said, did you get a chance to listen to the tape? She's like, yeah. Silence. And then I said, well, what did you think? And she said, I like the piano player. I was like, okay. I said, yeah, he's really good. And she wasn't giving anything up. And I said, so do you think that I could possibly do the program? She was like, yeah, okay. But just like, kind of didn't really even give me like an absolute yes. And I said, so should I show up in Brooklyn? She's like, yeah, okay. We'll see. Like that. So I didn't even know whether I was going to be on the list until I showed up at BAM. And I got there that day and I saw my name on the list. I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm on the list. Because for a minute I thought I was going to show up and I was just not going to be in it, because I was on the old side anyway. I think it was like, besides Tardy, I was the oldest one there, and actually Alex Norris, I guess. But okay. Because Sherman, I think you might be a little younger than me. I think
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 50. I'm 51. So
I'm older than you, bro.
Are you really? No way. Seriously?
Greg and I are around the same age.
Oh man, I didn't know. I didn't realize that. I actually thought you were younger than me.
52, yeah.
Yeah. So
I meant to.
So but then the last thing I'll say about this, my one Betty story that really sticks with me and was the most important thing that she ever did for me, was one of the first of the 2 days we were all bringing in our original compositions, and that's one thing that I really liked about her, the fact that she made us all either bring in originals or bring in original arrangements of standards. I thought that was really, really important and really, really cool that she was like, I don't want to hear any of that old shit that you hear at every jam session everywhere. She really wanted to hear. I don't know if you remember that, James, but she said that she made a real point of it, and if you came in playing like some old tired shit, she would tell you,
Right.
So
You remember that, yeah.
So I remember I brought in this original composition that I had done, and I came up and I was nervous too, because even though I was a little bit older, like I didn't know a lot of these cats. I had never met most of you guys. I didn't know at all. I knew Alex Norris, I knew Jennifer, and that was about it. And the rest of the cats I had just met for the first time. I think Tardy I knew a little bit. But in any case, so I brought in my composition. Everyone's bringing in these badass arrangements. Alex had the Jazz Ahead theme, killing arrangement. And so I come up with my little head chart that I wrote. This is the original, and I'm trying to flesh it out for horns on the spot. And I'm kind of like, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if this is going to be any good, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as Betty told me, she said, Frahm, in the hall, now. And I remember this like it was yesterday. And I'm like, oh, shit, what did I do, So she brings me out in the hall, and the rehearsal's still going on. And she was like 5'0" or whatever. And I'm like a foot taller than she is. And she pushed me up against the wall in the hall. Like, she pushed my ass up against the wall, and she pointed her finger at my face, and she said, you listen to me. You stand up for yourself, motherfucker, or I'm going to steamroll your ass. That's what she said to me. She was like, you stick. I chose you to be here for a reason. And you better stick up for yourself and act like you belong here. It was, and I'll never forget that, because no one had ever done that to me before. No one, and it was good. It was a good lesson to learn. It was I had never really, acted like I belonged in a place until she just laid it on the line for me. She was like, you gotta believe that you're good enough to be here. Otherwise, you can go home.
Guess what? If you look on the tape, on one of those tapes, I don't know if it's a CBS tape or if it's one of mine. I'm going to say it's on the CBS. You were getting your chart together. And she said, this is an arrangement gig or something like that, she said on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you stood up and you started talking about this song that you actually had. And, in your very almost kind of shy, but I still want to say something type of voice. And he's like,
right.
What I have? She's like, what she kind of came in like all strong or whatever may be the case.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm just wondering if that was the moment when it actually happened. I think that's actually
I think it was.
I remember that.
I think it
the
was.
Whole
yeah.
conversation.
Jennifer.
Joel, I remember that whole conversation. I witnessed that.
Yeah.
I witnessed the whole thing.
Yeah. She said, I'll never forget it. She said, you better stick up for yourself or I'm going to steamroll your ass.
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope you enjoyed that clip. That was, I know Joe tried to make it quick, but, you got to tell the story, man. It was such a great story. So informative, and gives me a lot of insight on how, Betty Carter, she was always out there just looking for talent, man, to not only support her brand, but to also uplift the jazz community and give opportunities. And that was the beautiful thing about Betty. And she is so missed because of that. There's so many people that did not get the opportunity to enjoy her, that givingness about her. But she will always be cherished and she will always be remembered. I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, so I'm just going to say thank you so much for checking out this wonderful Zoom call series that I actually had with these wonderful people. Man, this was such a great experience for me, and never a dull moment. So this is the last clip coming up. All right, so I just want to thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed everything that you saw. But, although we did have a good time talking to each other and catching up and seeing what everybody is doing and blah, 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 there is a serious side to this. So I wanted to end the Zoom call or this podcast on a serious note because what I am hopefully trying to do, with you guys at the Kennedy Center and the Jazz Ahead, is to, hopefully come up with a plan to bring all of this together. So, Joel and Sherman and Miri-Ben Ari, who already had checked in, who checked in Googling Jazz Ahead, seeing what was going on, they want to know, so what is going to be the plan? How are we going to make this happen? As you can see, well, after, once you look at this next clip, you're going to see that everybody's pretty much on board. They just want to know, how is this going to actually work out? And if a plan can be had, and of course, it's about the money and ticket sales and things of that nature. And, you'll see. Check out this clip. I hope you enjoy. Here we go.
Miri, oh my God.
Hi. I've been Googling Jazz Ahead since Joel asked this question about what do you have in mind. And a lot is going on, I have to tell you. Like, it's become like they have a partnership with Germany. They're bringing bands. Very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very big. They totally branded that Jazz Ahead from whatever we had at the time to something, I guess the leverage, on the name. But I'm also thinking, like, what are you going to propose as far as, like, what, like, added value do we bring besides, like, all the stories? It's business at the end of the day. I'm just wondering, what do you have in mind, how you're going to present this?
Well, I will say that a nice handful of people who come from Jazz Ahead all made a name for themselves. So it's one of those things, like, this is actually like a underclass type of fraternity, really. You know what I mean? Because, like, think about it, if you went to Berklee School of Music or whatever may be the case in the 90s, it seems like everybody from the Berklee classes of all the 90s got this fraternity. Everybody from the 80s got this fraternity. I think everybody has their own, some type of fraternity where they get together and they do these presentations or these shows or these clinics, and they talk about that particular time, those particular influences in their life that made them who they are at present day. In this particular thing, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I didn't know, like, people were saying with James, you were so forward thinking, when it came to this type of stuff. I just said, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that these people are dope. I just know I'm here, and I know I need this for something, because I know these people are going to be doing something. I didn't know not one person in Jazz Ahead, okay? And never even heard of nobody's names or anything, because I wasn't in that thing, you know what I mean? So, and I said, there's something about these people that's so special that I have to document this. And then once this COVID hit, and then this idea came to just get us together and talk and catch up, of course. It's not just because I just want to do this for Jazz Ahead, but I actually really do miss you guys. Like, I remember I saw Sherman at Lincoln Center one time, and we talked for a minute. I saw Joel, a while ago, and we chat. Like my thing is, I haven't seen David E. Frost.
Oh my God!
99, and he was on the last one, right? And then I haven't seen Miri since 99. I had never even had a conversation with Travis since 96. I think we probably said hi maybe one time. We never ever had a conversation. And Brandon McCune, he's practically my neighbor. And Alex Norris, I'll see him every once in a while before COVID. You know what I mean?
Personal results on this device.
The hell?
You can make that same.
And then with Jennifer,
hold on, it wasn't talking to you, James. That was
I'm checking that out, And then with Jennifer, I think I probably saw her like once or twice or whatever in the village. And I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to just see what happens. I don't think this has been presented. Maybe this can be a new thing where organizations get together and say, hey, let's have our past people come back and do like an alumni type of thing. and it will probably, business-wise, Mary, I think it will probably make a lot more money. Why? Look at all the stuff that you've done. Look at all the stuff that everybody's done, all the records, all the people that we've all been with, and the names that we have contributed into this culture in our own way. Who would not want to pay to come and check that out? Look at what Nate Smith and Eric Holland's been doing. You know what I mean? So to all say that we are a part of this one fraternity, we're going to come out for one night only, or 2 nights only, or one night and 2 shows or whatever, who would not want to pay a nice extensive cover charge to come and see that? Because
I think that's true, but I think the thing is that I mean it is a good idea, but if you're serious about putting it together, then there needs to be a plan. You know, there needs to be you know, an A, B, and C, and an idea. I mean, first of all, the first thing that you would need to think about is you know, when this actually would be possible, because with the world the way it is now, we would have to wait until people are vaccinated and make sure that it's a safe idea first, that we can that it's at a time, you know, I mean, you're talking probably about at least a year away, I would say.
Yeah.
2 years.
You know, what's that?
Probably 2 years.
That's
You think 2 years?
Till they open, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say 2 years too. But you know what, Joel? A lot of great things started happening 2, 3, 4 years ago. That just came out all of a sudden. It was like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? So maybe this is me being forward thinking again. It can actually, if I was to put my brain on it right now, I would say it would happen during the week of Jazz Ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you have the actual Jazz Ahead participants doing their show, let's just say a Saturday night, but the alumni show is Friday night. Jazz
right.
Ahead
So what you're right. No, I understand. I get that. I think that what you're talking about is recreating Jazz Ahead sort of with us as mentors at this point. You know, is what you're talking about doing, which is sort of that's sort of what Carmen and Curtis and those guys were doing at the time, which is cool. I mean, and I like that idea. The point I was making before is what I would need to know in advance, and I think what you would need to know in advance is, you know, who has the rights to the Jazz Ahead name, and if you're planning on doing a concert / whatever it's going to be, benefit / you know, mentorship, then I mean, which I'm down for, but we would really need to, you know, have an idea of when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, you know, all of those things. And I think, and I'm enthusiastic about it, but you know, if you really want to do it, then we got to start thinking about, you know, what steps you need to take to make it happen.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that last segment. I know that was a very serious segment, but it was necessary because at the end of the day, although, you know, it was good to see all these people come on Zoom and we all catch up and see how much we miss each other and all that good stuff, we still have to understand that this is a business, and because that this is a business, there has to be a plan. And so with that, they just want to know what is the next steps and what they can do to possibly, make this thing happen. So, I just want to say thank you, Jazz Ahead. Thank you, Kennedy Center, for checking out this video. And I hope, this video sparks the conversation. I hope this video put plans into effect. I'm sure it's not going to happen within the next year. It may happen within the next couple of years, maybe even 3 years. I don't know. But I think for the Jazz Ahead brand, for the jazz community in general, and for the benefit of Jazz Ahead and the Kennedy Center, I think this would be a great idea, and especially on an annual basis. And I think it can also materialize into other things. And I'm be honest with you, in my brain, I see a Betty Carter, tribute big band or something. I mean, Duke Ellington has one, Charles Mingus has one, I think Count Basie still has a band, big band out touring, and so to have a great a legacy, a Betty Carter legacy big band, I think would be great. You know, her Betty Carter's legacy is still very strong out here in the jazz community, and there's so many jazz singers who love Betty and who emulate Betty and who, you know, actually take on Betty's style of singing and things of that nature and really look up to her, although it's been over 21 years since she unfortunately deceased. She is still very much relevant in the jazz world. So hopefully, you know, we can all come up with a plan, you know, to really put this thing into another gear and make this thing come to life. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much. Again, I'm James Gibbs III, and it has definitely been a pleasure doing this podcast for you. I just want to thank everybody who joined in. Let me make sure I got everybody's name on here because I don't want to forget. I want to thank you, Sherman. I want to thank you, Joel, Miri, David, Andre, Byron, Travis, Alex, Brandon, Brandy, and Tanya, and Jennifer. Thank you so much for allowing this to come true for me. And thank you, Betty, you know, up in heaven. I know you up there kicking butt up there. Thank you so much for allowing this Jazz Ahead thing to materialize, and thank you so much for building legacies and opportunities and showing love to us, and I really hope this really works out. Okay, so have a great one, you all, and take care of yourself, and I hope that we can make this work out. All right, talk to you soon. Peace.